Stockton is a city in recovery, recovering from a recession that decimated entire neighborhoods, recovering from bankruptcy, and when it comes to the city's schools, recovering from a reputation as dropout factories.
This would never happen again.
Things were happening in the city that were affecting the family's ability to even stay stable in the community. All of that affects the students' ability to be in school. Parents lost jobs, families now were living in multi-family units. Students were working at night, maybe not able to invest as much as they could in their educations, or had now family responsibilities as parents went to seek work, families losing their housing. So all those different things that were happening in that climate, most recently in California, did affect what was happening in our school.
During the recent recession, Stockton schools were labeled dropout factories by a Johns Hopkins University study. It found that fewer than half of the city's high school freshmen were making it to their senior year. But Cesar Chavez High School principal William Nelson says the findings were nothing new.
I'm a product of Stockton. I moved here from Los Angeles when I was in high school, graduated locally from Edison High School. When I graduated in 1989, graduation rate was 50% to 55%. I remember my teacher saying, oh, we have this big graduating class because it was over 300 kids, but there was literally 800 who came into the school.
To fight back against its sky-high dropout rate, Stockton enlisted the help of the entire community. Social workers and school employees joined with police officers to go to the homes of dropouts, asking them why they left school.
Exactly, you're a smart kid.
The school district also began tracking its students for the first time.
We were actually letting kids transfer out of school, not worried about where they went, not worried about where they fell. So some of these kids were moving around in the city that we just weren't keeping track of. The second step was we actually had to look at our grades. We actually look at what kids were passing and what they were not passing and why.
National research shows that one of the top reasons students drop out of high school is because they are failing too many classes. Other top reasons include being bored, becoming a caregiver, and needing to make money to support their family. In 2012, a directive to combat those challenges in Stockton came from then Superintendent Steve Lauder.
We had a superintendent at the time who came in and actually helped the high schools really start to focus a little bit more.
It was a superintendent priority under Dr. Lauder. He brought it in to really change the culture of the school and district. A lot of research to suggest that when kids are connected to school more and they participate in school, they achieve more.
You see at least there's one or two people that sits by themselves and stays quiet all day.
Stockton Unified adopted a program called PLUS to connect with youth at risk of dropping out. PLUS stands for Peer Leaders Uniting Students, and it's in place in some 200 schools throughout California.
If you ever feel as if, school is hard, or you're alone, you're excluded, you're being bullied, it's like the perfect program for solving those problems. We set a positive climate around our school, and when we do forums like we're doing currently, we do activities, and each activity has a meaning to it. And the meanings are something that, students will take on with them throughout their entire life and take it on through school.
Comment interest. Don't be afraid to voice your opinion.
It's powerful. It's just powerful that we're doing this peer-to-peer. It's just like, it's not an adult talking to me. It's somebody that I know and trust. It's somebody that I can go out to a football game with and have fun with.
The principal at Edison High School says the PLUS program has been especially effective at reducing cyberbullying.
They see a lot of it quicker than we do because they're on Facebook and Instagram maybe more than I am. So they bring it to us. It's a lot of student-led conversation saying, hey, I found this kid's being bullied, so we can proactively deal with it. 3 years ago, that wasn't happening.
I actually remember in the 8th grade, when I was in the PLUS program, there would be like people sitting alone because they had just came, not a lot of people are talking to them and they're really quiet, they're not really that social. So I would go over there and talk to them, make conversation, introduce them to my friends so that they're not alone throughout the school year.
That kid is going to have a social transition in place where they will have a continuous identity literally for the next 4 to 8 years that they're part of Stockton. And so when they're experiencing activities that are increasing the attendance rates, they're going to come to school more. And when they're at school more and they're in a safe environment, that's increasing our academics. And so with that, we're increasing the graduation rate.
And our motto is basically service above self.
That's how I see it.
Over at Cesar Chavez High School in Stockton, another strategy is in place to keep students in school until they graduate. High schoolers here choose from 5 career pathways to connect their academics to real-world jobs. There are classes like this one in communications technology, as well as health, law, engineering, and performing arts.
I was actually thinking about becoming a chef originally, but then because of communication technology, I now have like an interest in everything about computers pretty much.
The pathway idea supports the high school graduation piece because it helps kind of motivate the kid. And we're not going to be happy till every kid graduates, but you know, our graduation rate stays traditionally between 85 and 90%. And then from there, our next step really is college and career preparation.
I feel like students just want somebody who cares. They want somebody to motivate them to do better.
When our kids come to campus, this is probably the safest place for them in South Stockton. So when they have those adults that care about them, truly care about them, that are trying to get them out of South Stockton, out of that cycle, that's what they need.
What I see in our high schools are kids that are engaged in learning, kids that are engaged in positive peer relationships on the school campus, teachers that care. I walk into classrooms and see high levels of student engagement with students and teachers, lessons that are geared toward high interest of students. I see the peer-to-peer interactions that are positive, and I see kids that are motivated to do well in school and to do well in life.
One of the most effective practices of the PLUS program is when high schoolers act as mentors to elementary school students. It allows teenagers to discover what it's like to lead, while the youngsters gain an older peer to look up to for guidance. This method is often used to solve problems like bullying on campus.